This time on Woody's Garage. I'd rather fight than work on that switch.
Alright, today we're going to try to fix the ignition switch for the Honda S90. The guys on the Honda-S90.groups.io. I'll put that some information down someplace so that you can find it. Suggested that take it apart. You can fix it. Others said no, it'll break into pieces. I think the biggest problem was this bakelite backing here might crack or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to attempt to do it. Here I put a tie around these wires. It doesn't really belong there, so you can get a better look at it here. You can see that someone patched. Might even have been me. I don't think so, though. I don't think I use that kind of tape. These wires so that they'd go into this socket here. I assume those are right. I'm going to double check and see if they are. But meanwhile, let's dig into this. I think maybe some jeweler's screwdrivers. And we got to work out this tab. That's the hole I drilled for access to spray into. And maybe this tab. And we'll see what we can do. Alright, let's see if we can totally screw this thing up. I mean, fix it. Take the key out. I'll take this ring out. And we got a bunch of pry tools here of different sizes. This one's good. I'll give you a little extra leverage. Of course, I don't really want to bend this too out of shape. I'm going to undo the wires here. Little metal piece, because I'm going to cut that zip tie there. I'm going to put another one of those on there later if I feel it's needed. Because the green ground here is also kind of a tab holding things in place. Dish, I'll tell you. Sketchy. Oh, okay. There's little tiny jeweler screwdrivers that are probably not worth a damn, but I really don't want to pry on this plastic too much. Somebody suggested on that list to, oh, there's a good tab to move, to do this in a plastic bag so that if things go shooting, they end up in the bag. But, and of course you wouldn't see any of it at all unless I put the camera in the bag, my head in the bag. Okay, that looks definitely like one of the main tabs. These other little dimples here don't really seem like they hold it as much. And this ground seems like the other tab on the opposite side. And I don't want to poke myself with a screwdriver because I do that like way too often. That's been healing for a month. Yeah. Okay. Problem with me doing something like this, you know, you start off and you're kind of cool, calm, and collected. Then you just, you know, you get kind of crazed because nothing's working. But a little more prying, I think. Prying and crying. Yeah. Some microscopic pliers would be good. And the other thing is prying. You know, of course you also don't want to get it to the point that, like, you're tugging on this and then everything goes flying and Someone's probably going like, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, well, the next time I do it, I won't be doing it wrong. Ooh, no, no, no. A little too eager. Now, before I sprayed that access hole right there, I drilled that hole and sprayed in WD-40 and contact cleaner. And it did wonders. The switch works to a degree. I can get the lights on. Ooh, 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 the prying's coming. But, you know, you go over a bump and they go out. So, and perhaps, you know, over time using the switch it would get better and better. But, what's this gack right here? It's coming on this side. Let's see if I pry out that a little more. Okay. Another problem I have is my eyes over the last year have been getting really, really bad. Ah, it's one of those stabs. All right. Can you see that? I mean, it's like probably 1,000,000 miles away. Yeah, it might be better. And the light's not that great either, is it? Alright. You can see it's coming out little by little. Don't want to... Kind of reminds me of the fan I worked on. I don't want to... Ooh, there it is. Okay, a little chunk of shit there. Okay, we got that contact. This whole guy pulls out of there. You see springs, and let me make sure you can see that. You got springs and ball bearings in here. And then the contacts. They don't look miserably bad, but let's stick the key back in it. You can see the key turn around there. Oh shit, that ground just broke off. Beautiful. Yeah, on this side, you can see that it kind of skids along these things here. And these guys look kind of tarnished, like they are not really making contact. Which are which and what's what, I don't know, and how I'm ever going to get these balls back in here. Looks like maybe the balls went in here. Hole in one. And maybe the springs go like here. I mean, I don't know now. That's the thing. Because it fell apart. Okay, I'm going to look at stuff and see if I can get a little more familiar with it and come back. I got the springs, there are 3 of them, and the ball bearings in a PB blaster bath, and I've done nothing to clean them, and it doesn't look like there's much crap coming off of them at all. They actually look like they're very clean. Maybe the springs have lost tension, like they're not long enough. Can I stretch them out a little bit? Maybe. Okay, this is a plate that moves around. It pivots on the center post there. And you can kind of see that there's, like, these make contact. 3 on this one, 2 on that one. And I'm sure the way you put it back together is going to be like, if you put it together right or wrong. I'm pretty sure right now they are the same way that they were when I took it apart. But, yeah. Alright, I hit those little bumps there with some 600 grit sandpaper and sprayed the thing down with contact cleaner, so I think I'm going to put that aside right now. Now we're going to look at this thing, the backing plate on Bakelite or plastic or whatever it is. Take a little bit of 600 grit. Yeah, I would guess here and where the problem lies. These are pretty tarnished. But I suppose good spring pressure would also kind of overcome. Let me work on these a little bit and we'll turn it back on when I'm done. Well, the sandpaper is kind of weird. Doesn't seem to really be making progress. I'm going to take this buffing wheel on my Dremel. There's nothing on the buffing wheel itself. But I may put something on it. I don't know. So in other words, it's not abrasive at all. And it shows because it's not really doing a damn thing. Or maybe it is. Just coated in some contact cleaner. Sometimes when you do something like this, you know, it's coming along, but you can't really see it. And that one's cleaner. These two look good. These two dots still do not. You can definitely feel a connection from the wire right to these connections too. Actually, I'm going to stop right there because the dirtiest ones are those two, and the brown is one of those dirty ones. What do you know, huh? Alright, and you can start to see the pattern. Let me make sure you're seeing this. Could you see it before? I hope so. Anyway, maybe I'll have to start over here. So with the Dremel, we use the buffing wheel to kind of clean them, and these three came clean. That is the brown connection right there where my thumb is. That is the white connection. So those two were the dirtiest by far. I'm still going to try to clean them up. You can see the circular pattern, how the key turns and digs into the plastic a little bit. Okay, I'm going to work on this a little more. This is some light sandpaper on a board. We stepped up the spot sandpaper to a fine grit, which is probably around like 320, 360 or something like that. 400, I don't know. Anyway, and we're back to the really light stuff, and it's getting there. It looks pretty darn good. And I feel, I might be wrong, but I feel like these surfaces should be totally flat. Maybe those contacts protruded when it was new, but they're never going to do that now. Maybe they never did that. Alright. I got different layers of sandpaper on a piece of board. Kind of handy, although all the sandpaper is dirty from overuse. Yeah, it's not bad, not great. Now this deal. I guess what we got to coordinate now is the switch positions with how they would put where this thing plugs into this thing in the back there, with the 3 contacts on one side and the 2 contacts on the other side. We'll have to... Uh-oh. Oh God, I'm screwing it all up. These are loose, which I don't like. And there's a little bit of insulator or something in between. There it is. So when you flip it over, it can kind of fall apart, and that makes it kind of fun. I'm going to clean this thing up a little more. I didn't clean the insulator plates underneath. But anyway, the 3 dots here and the 2 dots on the other side are going to correspond, I believe, to the switch. It has 3 contacts on one side and 2 on the other. Does that make sense? You know? I think so. So, right now I'm on this part, and I'm sure this could use some service too. We're going to clean it out, and then you can obviously see there's a little slack in the, or maybe you can't, little slack in the key. I doubt we can get rid of that, but that should probably be lubricated somehow. So clean and lubricated. So I'm going to spray it out with contact cleaner right now. Stuff's cold as ice when it hits your fingers. Ugh. Nasty. Got a clean rag for a change. It's a little gritty in there. It's where the action happens. Or is it the other side? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still very puzzled about how this works. We'll get a little cleaner than that. Get a Q-tip in there. Wonder if that thing pops off there. Yeah, it looks like it does. So you could pull that whole shaft out of there. That'd really screw me up. Okay, we'll screw it up one piece at a time. Get those contacts with a eraser, or a pencil. It's abrasive, light abrasive. About the only thing you can get down inside of here. I mean, if these are in fact, are these contacts, or is it, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Or is it just the other side? And what are these bumps? They just click-throughs or something? I don't know. It'll be clean regardless. Okay, I'm cleaning up the selector piece, Bakelite plastic. Put a little PB blaster on the end of a Q-tip and getting it all cleaned up. Now it kind of doesn't look like there is a number on here. What does it say? I think it's a 3. You can see it right there. Which, I don't know. Maybe I've already screwed up the orientation of that. But, I mean, both sides, everything kind of looks the same except for that 3. So, we'll leave the 3 on the top side there. Here we have the contacts with that little piece of plate insulation, whatever it is here. I'm going to give them about the same clean. And then we're just going to put it back together. Nothing really looks worn here at all. Alright, this thing's back together. Now these plates still just flop around, you know, they're not loose. I almost felt like crimping them a little bit so that they fit a little tighter to the plate. But, you know, the function might be that they float. I'm not quite sure on that. But you see the 3's up at the top there. No marking down here. And we have the 3 contacts over here and the 2 contacts over here. So it's just sitting in the housing. There are no contacts on the bottom. Those are just lumps, I guess. But you can see how it spins. What I don't know is if this is 180 out, because it can be turned like this. I guess we have to think about the orientation of the next part that's on top. And about all those springs. I'm wondering if there was one spring that sat inside underneath this center part. I hate to do this because those things are going to fly. Maybe. So there you see the springs. 2 springs of equal length over here. And then there's this one kind of short guy. And then we got 2 ball bearings. Now I'm guessing the bearings go with the long springs. And I'm thinking this might go in the center of that plastic selector. They don't look bad. You know, I'm thinking that it's the contacts were the problem and not maybe the spring tension. Although I'm going to yank them out a little bit to make them a little springier. But right now I'm guessing, I pulled it apart and it all fell apart, that they go under here, which rides on those guys. I don't know how the hell they ride over those bumps. It's going to be one bumpy ride. So springs may be something like this. And then the ball bearings sitting on the outside 2 springs. Like this. Yeah, they're in there. It's kind of hard to put a little pressure on them and turn. But yeah, you can do it. It feels like a ball bearing already came out. Yeah, not right. I think it's right. I think I'm trying to make it do something without the cover on it. I think would make it much more consistent. Now, what I'm thinking about, people said you put some dielectric grease on things. I don't know. What parts? I'm not sure. Okay, I got them sitting in there, but I'm not turning it around. And what I see is here's the, let me see if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah. Here's a backing plate. Here's all the wires. They go out this way. So this would kind of go on. I'm starting to think that little spring goes in here. Okay. Would go this way. About like that. Which would put the 2 connections on the 2 connections and the 3 connections on the 3 connections, given, that is, if this turns this way, which it does. So I'm thinking this orientation is right. You know, the 2 dots the two connections up towards where the wire holder is. I think I might post this for now and get the opinion of the guys who have done this before. And things are fairly clean. I also want to see if these wires seem correct to somebody else who has a harness, or I'll go on eBay and just look at the wires. It looks like the red is... Let me get a wider view here, I'm sorry. It looks like the red, which has been patched with a green, is in the middle position. And the black, which has been patched to a green, is at the bottom position. Excuse me. So the black would be opposite the brown. The red would be opposite the yellow. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do about this green ground that I broke off. Thinking that this little other spring goes here, not on the other side. Well, I could be wrong about that. That way this part sticks into it there. That would make sense. And this could be the key to its functionality too. So I think that's going to be it for right now. I'm sure I'll look at it some more, but I really like an opinion of what's going on right now. Thanks a bunch.